You are listening to I Am Refocused podcast with your host, Shemaya Reed. This podcast is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. Now, let's tune into today's podcast.
Hey, this is I Am Refocused podcast. You know what time it is. It is Thursday here at Rockefeller's Barbershop. Shout out to Rico Rodriguez, the owner of Rockefeller's Barbershop. Woo. Man, we have a returning guest, Mr. Pastor Chad Schapiro of Ignite Community Church. And I just want to say good morning to you, sir.
Hey, great morning. Way to kick off the year with you.
Yes, sir.
Love being here. Thank you for the opportunity.
And Happy New Year to you and to everybody around San Antonio area.
Yes.
This is a great year, man. I mean, it's one of those things when it's brand new, you just feel that freshness, if I can put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
2018 is gone.
Yeah.
It's time to move forward.
A lot to learn from, but time to go forward.
So tell us, man, what is going on at Ignite Community?
Oh, man, this is such a blessing to be here with you, first of all, and excited for you guys to be blessed all year long. Yes, you guys have been doing some amazing, amazing things, and it's really an honor to start off the year.
Yes,
I really look at it, I'm thankful to God for the opportunity to start off the year here with you guys. So thank you for that. And Ignite, this is perfect timing for us to be on here because we are expanding. The first service, we're in the Thousand Oaks Family YMCA, Thousand Oaks and Henderson Pass. And we've been in the aerobics room, if you will, but they call it the Group X room, and it fits quite a few people in there. But we are grateful that we are moving on up to the gym floor, so watch out for that. And now its capacity is for literally hundreds and hundreds of people, and so the first service will actually be this Sunday of that whole move. So over a year that we've been there, and now taking on that big move, which was a lot more planning than we had originally thought, which is sometimes the way it works when you're moving forward. And so we're very, very grateful for that. But the praise and worship team, when we started with just tracks and CDs and things like that, now is has a guitar player and keyboard and drums and the whole works and singers, and just but we're so grateful for the YMCA, first of all, to help be able to live out the C in the YMCA, to be a church there and to serve the community, and then to have this growth that God has been doing has just been a real blessing. So really looking forward to bigger, better things in the year. For me personally, I get so motivated in that community because there's so many apartments, there's so many, houses, the people that are, I'm sure, like I have been in my life, lonely, frustrated, depressed, seeking, feeling empty, trying to figure out what do they need to do, especially even in the new year. Like, what do I need to do to make this year better than last year? It feels like I missed it. Many years living that way. And I really feel like God puts that feeling of missing in our hearts because it's supposed to be filled with Him, and we can keep searching for all these things to fill it, but needs to be filled with Him. And so to be able to do that, and when you put Him first, I know we'll talk about business later, but I've seen business improve and grow, and the opportunities there to, just go forward, and but it's just really feeling at peace, and I want that to happen for all of those people. In my mind, I get stuck on this trunk or treat event that the YMCA has, and at least in our area, in the parking lot there'll be some 1,500 people.
Wow.
I'm talking about like just swarming amounts of people, and unlike any other time of the year. So when I see that and the enthusiasm for people to get candy, I think, okay, I can't wait for God to make a move, where there'll be that kind of enthusiasm on a Sunday morning, or to do what we do every Saturday morning, which is to walk around the whole 1.25 miles kind of block, we call it, but just it's a big block. But picking up trash and things like, I want people to swarm to something like that to serve the community, not just come for candy or to pet a goat, in the petting zoo that we have, but that's the opportunity that's before us, to be able to serve there well, and just so that's kind of some of the new stuff that's going on there.
I like the whole theme of moving forward and grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very important for this new year, 2019, is that I like how you said how we have that empty space in us that God wants to fill up.
Yeah.
And that's very true, because whatever you were doing in the past years, if it hasn't worked, let's leave that alone.
Yeah, right.
And let's try something different. Speak to the whole individual right there who's in a new year. They want to do better.
Yeah.
They're not trying to do anything flashy. They just want to be a better person.
Yeah.
How do they get connected to God and develop that relationship?
I think a lot of it is like anything. You have to be around it more. We speak English, if you're understanding us, because you grew up around it. Somebody that speaks Japanese, they can seem like it's so much more intelligent than us, or how could they know all those words, or what does that even mean? But it's not trickier than us understanding English. They grew up around it, so they know it. Somebody that knows how to fix cars is not a genius compared to me, who does not know how to fix cars, but they grew up around it. And so when you're trying to grow in God and really to love Him and to honor Him, but also to grow in our character, to have that would be where a lot of the things maybe were tripping us up last year, is maybe things in our character that are unlike Him, which we all have since the fall. So everybody has kinks in our game. We all have things that we need to work on. So don't be surprised. And that's part of it too, of being excited for the new year, because sometimes we can feel like we're missing it so bad. We're so rough. Our bank account's so messed up. Like life is my relationships, everything is just terrible, and that woe is me, and that nobody knows what it's like, and that it's so bad that instead of seeking and being excited to renew our minds and to be fired up for the new year, that we actually feel that we're not worthy of these things. And the truth is, we all struggle. The people that look like they got it all together, either they're just playing a great game, and you can't tell some of the stuff they're struggling with, or maybe they did struggle with some of those things in the past, but they grew through them, just like we have the opportunity to do this year. But nobody gets out of it easy. And so that's the first thing, I think, is just to understand, I'm not that bad because I struggle. I'm not that bad because I have these hangups, drugs, drinking, lack of forgiveness, finances, health, wish you could be healthier in your body. A lot of people can relate to that. So don't carry that baggage of frustration into the new year, giving up already. Let's go forward. Now that we want to go forward, can we hang around and be around an environment like I feel blessed to be in this environment today? So, because seriously, I look at it like, the opportunities to start the year off, is the same way, I want my year to start off incredible, the same way that you listening want your year to start off incredible, but we have to be around the right environments to be able to do that. And so that's why I do love church, but it doesn't have to be just in church. It could be reading the Bible more. It could be watching it more on YouTube or on a TV or whatever you have. And church. I love the church because it is the body of believers, right? It doesn't matter about what building we're in, but it is about the people. Because sometimes if you just have a book, it's not enough to really help you grow. Imagine if somebody just had a book on English and you were supposed to learn it, or Japanese, or a book on fixing a car. How many of us would love to be deeper than that, more in around it? Well, that's what church can do, iron sharpening iron, and growing and fellowshipping and having opportunities to work together like we do here, where you're asking me about church, but I'm so grateful for I Am Refocused and what you're doing worldwide, which it has been blowing up since the last time I was here. So that is terrific. And your year ahead of you is so amazing. But we get to do that together. We get to work together. That's what church gets to do, where you have brothers and sisters who love you and encourage you. And same thing I would recommend to people in business. Be around brothers and sisters who are for you, not the haters, not the people against you, not the people trying to gossip and slow you down, but people that are like, let's go. I want you to be blessed, because there are people like that, and there are people the other way too. The more that you can have that, then some of the stuff will come more naturally in time. The more you're in that environment, it will come. You can push for it and you can want it so bad. Sometimes you just got to relax a little bit and be in it as much as possible, be around it as much as possible, and it will come to you, just like the language has come, just like your job now maybe feels more comfortable, or other jobs you've had, where somebody like me would try to do your job and mess it all up, and you think it's super simple, even if you work at Burger King, but I would, mess up everybody's food, so it's just some of these things need time, to grow into, but being in the community is a crucial thing to grow in God. Sometimes the stuff in the past that we were talking about, I really believe in like bending your knees to jump forward. There's a lot of stuff that we're not used to going down to come up. And so we get frustrated with that. We feel like failures, when the reality is, in business, it's going to cost money to invest. That's not why you signed up in the business. That's not why you started to spend. Look at you. You had to spend on all this great equipment here before it was making you tons of money. Time, effort, energy, before it was reaping. And a lot of people don't like those stages, so we feel like we're failing. I go to the gym, I want to get in shape, and it doesn't happen as fast as we want. And so we throw our resolutions, down on the floor and like babies and quit. But some of this stuff takes more investment. And again, if you're around community of people who are long-term, who are thinking it through, who have paid the price in full up front, and they're helping you understand the same things, it can help a lot to not get in such a hurry where we just want to reap instead of sow, where we just want the results to come overnight. And when they don't, we start to quit. And that's what I think it slows us down sometimes too, is, like instead of looking at we want to forget last year, but even the things that were rough, those are lessons. Those are some of the greatest things we've ever been able to learn from. Were actually from our mistakes, from the worst things that could ever come in our lives. And so maybe we should reframe how we think about 2018 and the struggles. Maybe we should look at it like, hey, thank you, Lord, because I bent my knees down in 2018 and boom, I'm ready to go forward. I'm launching, right? Like, because you have to be ready to make mistakes.
And part of moving forward, too, when you decide I'm going to move forward, that's when the challenges come. Because now you have to be accountable to making that decision that I'm going to make the right choice this time.
Oh, great point. Yeah.
Speak to the people out there who are making the right choices, but are catching hell. Yeah. If I can say that.
No, it's so great.
It happens to every time. Each person is trying to do the right thing, trying to clean up, trying to do better, and taking action. As soon as you take that first step, it's like everything's coming at you.
Yeah, and it's got to come at you. It's got to, because there's a new habit, there's a new thing. You and I were already busy before. So let's say Ignite, which we were talking about, or you can put it into business context if you need to. But so Ignite was being birthed. We weren't doing it before. So People, would it take money? Would it take time? Of course. Yeah. Now, were we already busy? Were we already using money the way we were? Yeah. So all of a sudden now you're trying to fit this new habit in, this new thing, this new dream into what was already a busy life that you and I had before. We already weren't sitting on tops of tons of money, right? Left over, just hanging out with, what should I do with all this money? That's probably not the case for most. You probably didn't have an extra 5 hours a day sitting there before your big goal, before your big dream. We weren't bored all day long. So now this new thing is demanding that we do something. I've just had a thought like a baby, right? Like it's demanding, feed me, take care of me, whatever. And you burp me, but you were already busy before the baby came, right? So life has to change. And I think that's sometimes what we miss.
And you have to make time.
You have to. And if you don't, or if you don't think you have to, then that's where the frustration comes in, because we go, why am I getting tested? Why am I getting drilled? How come this isn't easy? How come it's demanding me to sow into this thing, money into this thing, even though that's not why I signed up for? I want to reap, but and I don't have all this extra stuff to do it with, but it's demanding it, and we have to change. And I think sometimes we think so much of the goal. That's the only problem I have with goals sometimes and resolutions is it's easy to dream, easy to wish, easy to have resolutions, but what's the price that has to be paid? That's the relevant part. What do we have to do to make it happen? And too many of us, we just dream real big and we think we're doing something. Yeah. And I think you mentioned a little bit about accountability, which is true, is so good, because it's great to declare your dream, but they've even done studies on Facebook that people that declare their stuff out there already got their kicks from that alone. That even though they didn't come close to making the dream come true, they all just because they told mom and dad and uncle and aunt and friends, like what we're gonna do this year, they already felt that you're like, okay, I'm done. No, we're not done, right? But that's where we get into a problem, because we think I'm gonna lose this 10 pounds. And we get excited about losing the 10 pounds, and we think we're already done, but we never hit the gym yet. And we have to start hitting the gym over and over and over and over again when no results are showing up on the scale in order for us to get there. And that's the struggle we have, is there's a price to be paid. What I always like to do is think, instead of, I got my dreams, the people that have these dreams accomplished, like mine, because they're not out of the blue, they're not new, right? Somebody else had big podcasts that went international and had millions of views and listens and everything. Somebody else had a church that was a plant church in their home, and then they grew into this and to this and to that, like bigger. It's not new. Okay, somebody else had a business that started off with an idea at the beginning of the year and then became millions. So we don't need to sit here going, I don't know. Like, we can know because we can study and watch the model. The same way the Bible is so relevant to somebody like me, because I can study and learn and grow from what God is teaching us to do and to be like. And you won't see it easy either, will you? Which a lot of us think, I want it to be so easy. It wasn't easy for them in the Bible, so why would it be easy necessarily for us? And so we feel like, how come God's not blessing me? Because God, there were some tough times for all the people that have ever followed God, and there will be for you and I as well. And so when we start to model of what the people did to hit the goal. So you want to lose the 10 pounds. You want to make, get out of debt by 40,000 or whatever it may be. You want to go build whatever. What did they do when they were you? And one thing that I think throws us all off is we're too testimonial driven, where we get excited about the success story. That it feels like it was overnight. It feels like it was easy. We see the picture in the magazine, with the person all swole up, and we're like, man, I want that to be me. But we don't know about the workout. We don't know about the diet. We don't know how much they invested in the business. We don't know when everybody was hating on them and saying that it would never work. Yeah. We don't catch that part of the story. All we think about is the result.
I like to say this a lot. A lot of times we're on chapter 2. And we want to be on chapter 200.
Yeah.
But the problem is, instead of writing our story daily, we want to try to skip chapters and have that imaginary quick success. And that's never going to happen. And when I say success, I'm going to break it down because it's really defining it. You hear it every single week. Defining it for yourself.
Yes.
If it's to wake up early and be productive, better than it was yesterday. That's success. If it's quitting bad habits that you were holding on for years, and today you make the choice, it stops now. That's success. So you have to define it for yourself. Touch on that.
Oh, yeah, that's so good. It's your dream. It's your life. You can learn from successful people, but if they have what you want, if they have what you think God wants out of you, those are your models. You don't need to have somebody decide for you. And little goals are beautiful, like you mentioned, because you don't need to compare yourself to somebody else's big stuff. I know that soon you're going to have CBC and Ed Newton, right here, sitting here on this as well. As a new church with Ignite, I don't need to compare myself to CBC down the street and feel like I'm failing, or the other church that takes away our enthusiasm, like you mentioned, because first of all, they didn't just start that way. They weren't just like, boom. And even if they were, how about the other 1,000 that didn't do that? How come I'm losing my joy and my zeal, my enthusiasm, because I want to be like them instead of being grateful? So one thing I always think about with Ignite and talk to our people is because in the same room we've been in, before we were there was a church that was there for 3 years that had 8 people, and it was all family. Grandma, grandpa, and parents and kids after 3 years. And so when we got to 20 people, felt very grateful. Like, wow, look at what God's doing, right? Like, in 20, right? Is that a lot compared to CBC? And that's not even one of their small groups, right? Like, their small groups have more people, right? Like, but being grateful for, comparing it to better things, that empower us and inspire us. And then, when you do that, right, it starts to snowball and you start to put in more effort. And so 20 to 25 to 30 to 35 to 40 to 45 to 50, and you start to, and I think sometimes we just, like you said, I love that, we get to wanting to skip all those chapters of all that work. And as leaders, which we're all leaders, when we're in too much of a hurry, skipping chapters, not doing what God called us to do, then we start to model that, unfortunately, to other people. We model that to our kids, where we want them to pay attention to the 3rd grade teacher, right? And to pay attention whether they like the class or not, to do their best. But we're not doing our best. Where we are, we're not being patient. We want them to maybe go to church and be excited, but they don't, and listen to their teacher there too. But we're not listening to our pastor and submitting the way we might need to. But we want them to do that. We want them to submit to us as kids, but they don't see us model that behavior at all. And so I'm just talking about kids, but what about coworkers? What if you're leading somebody at a job, but they don't see you submit and follow well, but you want them to, then that's not really leadership. That's more of just trying to command it out of somebody. So they need to be able to see us live this way and fight for our dreams. And when they are small and you start to do it like you mentioned, and we start to change some habits, then we can move on to some other areas and we start to get in the right rhythm, which I'm very grateful to business, to kind of helping me learn that rhythm many, many years ago, which then went into some other key areas of my life, because nothing in my life has been fast and easy and quick or anything. It all seems to go real slow, at least on my time plan. But because I expect that and I'm okay with that, it's been a blessing. And I think that as we set those small goals, so one thing that's a challenge sometimes with goals is we have too many of them. So there's so many that we can't just really knock it down. Like if it's getting up a little bit earlier, that's 1 out of 20, 30, 40 goals. Mm-hmm. And so it's easy to drift. It's easy to lose it. It's easy, that whole idea of jack of all trades, master of none. Mm-hmm. We think they're small, but they're small and there's too many and we get distracted. So encourage to have fewer core areas. For me, I have the 4 F's, which I learned a long time ago that I like to focus on, which is faith, family, finances, and fitness. So I'll have, those will be kind of my larger buckets where I will have goals that correspond in those areas. Yeah. I can't have 20 F's because all of a sudden I'll lose it, Yeah. And so, but little baby stuff that you can start to make happen and feel great about, I think is really strong advice.
That's perfect, man. And perfect timing to do a segue to next level leadership. But before we do that, we want to take a quick commercial break. So don't touch that iPhone. We will be right back.
Welcome to Rockefeller's Barbershop. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will be blessed and be glad in Him. Today I want to introduce myself. My name is Rico Rodriguez at Rockefeller's Barbershop here in San Antonio, Texas, 1733 Babcock Road. My phone number is 210-782-5188. And again, we do walk-ins on Sundays. You are listening to I Am Refocused podcast on iHeartRadio. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
Does your website need more traffic? Well, visit overflowcafe.com today. They make websites popular, and over 41,000 people use their service to gain more customers. They are winning at business. What about you? Visit overflowcafe.com today.
Hey, this is I Am Refocused podcast, and we are back with Pastor Chad Schapiro of Ignite Church, and we are talking about moving forward in 2019. It's not just about being better you, because we hear that, right? We hear that every single year. I'm going to be a better me. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do this. This is really, like he was saying in the first segment, focusing on the very fundamental things. And can you share those F's that you were talking about, the 4 F's that you said in the first segment?
Oh, yeah. The 4 F's have been life-changing for me. So my faith, my family, my finances, and fitness. Those are 4 key areas. Yeah. And faith really is involved in all 3, to honor my body, to honor, God's money that He brings us, and then my family, right? I want Him to be in charge of all. But those are the 4 F's that I try to focus on to keep things simple, and which is a key, I think, with a lot of our dreams and our goals. I think when people it's great to add many, many, many things. When there is a foundation of great success, when we have proven that we can lead well or whatever we're in, then we can add to it. But if we are I see a lot of newer leaders and newer people that are trying to add all of these extra things, and they haven't really shown to how they can knock it down the first big one to build that credibility. And so I strongly recommend to keep it as simple as possible.
And the reason why I want to bring that up, because it's a segue into talking about next level leadership.
Yeah, thank you.
What I want to mention is this is going to be something you want to take notes on. So for next level leadership, what is it that brings you to the next level as an individual?
Wow. A lot of what we talked about in the first segment, for somebody to go to the next level, which our tagline is taking life to the next level. You want to be around other people who are doing just that. That whole idea of, if you're scratching with the chickens, what do you think you're going to be? You're not going to be soaring with the eagles, right? And so we need to soar with some eagles. And that's what Next Level Leadership is really designed, because we have made a commitment to open up Tuesday, Thursday webinars for free to the whole world. And we're so blessed to have people from all around the world. Some of our leaders are from Zambia, incredible trainers from France, people from Canada, people from United Kingdom, all over the United States. And so through our fan page and through doing webinars, those Tuesday, Thursday, like we just finished one up here this morning with Marwan Powell, who's just an amazing trainer and leader. Those are open, and then we archive them on our fan page of Next Level Leadership. And so the more somebody's around that environment, the more that they will grow in whatever area. And maybe they don't even have an area yet. Maybe they're just needing to grow personally, and then the vehicle will come to them. But a lot of times if the driver doesn't know what they're doing, maybe the vehicle's already there, but they just are not capable yet of really strongly doing well with it. And so Next Level Leadership is designed to help people in small business, big business, to help the stay-at-home mom, the teachers, the nonprofit leaders, pastors, different people, anywhere in leadership development. And the more we hang around that kind of a community, we talk about iron sharpening iron. Well, that's what this is, and it can be an encouraging word. I think so many of us want to get that new key, that one little key that I need to change my year. And it's like, no, you already know what you're supposed to be doing. We already know what we're supposed to be doing most of the time. We're just not doing it. We're hearers of the words, but not doers. And we need to get in the trenches and do and grind and make it happen and stick with it and fight forward and go through the dirt and the mud and the sweat and the tears and the costs that are necessary. But we give up. We want it to be too easy. And so an environment that can help you, not with that new flashy little thing that you thought you needed to know, but maybe some of the stuff you already knew but weren't doing. Because so many times, that's the biggest problem. We've learned these things we're not doing. How many of us know that we should be burning more calories than we're taking in? We already know that. Right? But we want that, it's the keto. I need to do the keto, or I need to do the high fat diet. I need to do the low fat diet. I need to do the high carb, low carb. I need to, get on that machine and this machine, that machine, whatever. And at the end of the day, it's simple. We just need to do it and do it and do it and keep doing it. But that environment that surrounds us, that can help us change our heart and our inside, then it comes out of that. And so that's what Next Level Leadership is to do. And we've been very blessed to be on the radio, where to have a show there Monday through Friday, as well as to train real estate companies where they paid thousands of dollars for us to come in to be able to talk leadership with them and different opportunities that come out of our business. But primarily it's the fan page and free webinars, and we just want people to be around the environment, and then many of the tools that could help them will be also offered through there as well.
And we mentioned about character. And I think that's a very important ingredient to develop now, and we're in the new year. Like, if you want to touch on that, what are the values and benefits of developing character as well when you get involved in leadership?
Well, I think if you don't, it'll probably be short-lived no matter what it is, because if the character, we're talking about a character trait, let's say like in having integrity. We've seen, many of us have seen, doesn't matter if it's churches, which really hurts a lot in the church world when there's lack of integrity. We're all struggling. My favorite quotes is, we want things to be easier instead of growing to become better. And the reality is, in life, for real, if we become better, then everything becomes easier. So I've been blessed to run marathons, and I can't right now. So don't let's not get out there. But when you're used to, when you push, and you run 15 miles, and then you run 20 miles, and then you run 22 miles, and then you get to 26 miles, you grew your capacity, so 10 miles is now easier. Why is it easier? Was it always easy? Not at all. It wouldn't be easy for me today because I haven't been training. But when you have become better in a certain area, then everything becomes easier. And it's the same way in business and nonprofit work or whatever, as we focus on becoming better. And so that's where it's like we mentioned, it's got to come from the inside out. And when it does, if it's all on the outside, the inside's going to mess it up sometime, if the inside's not right. And so we need to continue to work on that as any other area of our life, to work on our character, to work on the skills necessary to be a good leader, to be a blessing to the community, to be a good friend, to be a good father, to be a good husband, to be good at whatever. We need to work on those things very hard. They're very important to our lives, and they're very important to others' lives. And so I think sometimes we just so worried about what we're receiving that we don't spend as much time as we need to, because we just want to receive. Yeah. But again, you reap what you sow. So are we out there focus more on what we're giving? If we focus more on what we're giving, I think you'll always see that person being blessed.
That's true, because if you're only focusing on what you don't have and what you're getting.
Yeah.
All that, pretty much all those minutes, you have missed your chance to start giving.
Yeah.
And when we say give, it's not always money. It's your time. It's how you carry yourself. Mm-hmm. When people are watching you from a distance that you don't even notice are watching you.
Yeah.
Like I said, sometimes you just go through life and you just don't really understand the situation that, oh man, people are actually watching me, so maybe I do need to head the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Because we talk about the empty space that people have, and that's the only space God can fill.
Yeah.
Well, the main thing is, if you keep ignoring that empty space, you're going to go through the rest of your life making all these resolutions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's never going to work.
Never. You're going to think
you're going everywhere but to that one empty spot.
Wow. That's good. And that's so true. And we're always searching and feeling like we're missing it. And maybe we're not missing it. And then we compare ourselves, like you mentioned, to other people, and we're not satisfied with maybe our smaller goals. And another trick of, to throw us off course, by doing that, because, what if, that stay-at-home mom, that could be the greatest place for her to be, to flourish, to do amazing, the most important job she could ever have. Why would she compare herself to somebody that is in corporate America, that was in charge of thousands of people? It's not. It's different dreams, and we need to be satisfied and hungry for what is in front of us. So I love that.
In next level of leadership, I also think of, in order to even go, because I'm going to just make this metaphor. You go in the car, right? You turn the car, you driving. But before you even get to drive, you got to have gas in the tank.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you know you're getting low,
that's good.
You're going to have to make a stop.
Yep.
And I feel like that's the way God treats us in our life. We try to go without him for so long, then before you know it, we start riding on E.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, I told you.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, you're going to have to make a stop.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where I'm trying to get to the point is, we have to first be honest to know where we are, to know where we can go.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we want, like we were talking about earlier, when we compare ourselves to people, we want to try and have a false identity to be like the popular and the most powerful influencer. But the thing is, if you're not honest with yourself, you're never going to hit the target.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good.
You're in China when you're supposed to be in Detroit.
Right. Yeah, that's so good. And again, if we focus on the end goal instead of the journey of what it takes and honoring the baby steps, and again, we know where we want to be. There's nothing wrong with end goals, but if we're broke and we don't want to put gas in the car, well, then that's why we're not going to get there. So do we want to get there? Yes. So what does somebody have to do? They have to go to the gas station and they have to get some money together, and how are you going to get that money together if money's tight? But you still have to be able to fill up that tank. And that's what next level leadership is really trying to be helpful. When I was growing up in business, man, we would spend, my overhead was probably $3,000 or $4,000 a month. Just on business, and it was a network marketing business, a home business, and so high overhead, obviously still, right? $3,000 a month. Yeah. But again, that was what was necessary. So a lot of people say, well, I want to make what you made. You made $60,000 the first year and $120,000 the next year. I want to make that. And it's like, well, do you want to put gas in the car, to make it drive like that?
That's good.
Or do you don't want to? And I didn't want to either. And the owner of this great barbershop would love to not have any overhead for it to be free, right? And just to be able to cut hair and people pay money, but that's not how life works. We got to be able to put in to receive out. Would we love to, in Ignite, would we love to not have to buy chairs and buy pipe and drape and buy projector screens and buy all this stuff, hey, it's a nonprofit, but if you want to move into the space, then you have to be ready to, what they say, you have to pay the price to pay the cost to be the boss, but so many of us don't want to do that at all. And then, like we were talking about before, we just see people receiving and we think that they got there without that. And that's totally not true. They got there by doing that. And they did it more than you could even imagine. More sleepless nights, more frustration, more rejection, more headaches, more struggles, more doubters, more haters, more money spent, more, mistakes that they made, for a week, a month, a year, a decade. And then we see them and we go, oh, wow, look at how easy. And it was not easy. And so we've got to be ready to pay the price in full. Otherwise, just a wish, dream, resolution. The price. And if we could focus more on the price. One of my great mentors who I loved, I never met him, but John Wooden, who was a UCLA basketball coach, won more college championships than anybody in my understanding of history. He would write the goal of winning the championship, put it in a drawer somewhere. Obviously, that was his goal. He wanted to win it all. But he didn't need to look at that every day. He knew what it was. Yeah. But every day, he would carry around flashcards that had per minute what the practice would be like. Per minute. He honored the minutes. The goal for the year was overarching. It was there, of course, but he didn't need to look at that every day. He honored the minutes, and then the minutes would help them towards that goal. That the changing behaviors, like you mentioned, character, the inside is what needs to be done to hit those goals. And I think that that's what's next level leadership is really designed to help us take life to the next level by changing the insides in an efficient way. So instead of having overhead of $3,000 a month for somebody to come learn and grow, they could do it from the comfort of their own home through their cell phone or what have you, and be able to learn and grow that way. And again, it won't work if you just come one time and leave, because it will be just like anything else. It tickled your ears and you were in and out. But it would be if it could become your culture, your community, and then we raise leaders up. So there's a lot of gifts inside of every single one of us, and so the platform allows us to get videos and testimonies, and we have some from pastors in Zambia that are and all over the world that are helping train. So all of a sudden now, by somebody's focus and dedication on next level leadership, they now have a platform that's being built. Now, most of us are a lot of leaders trying to build a platform already all on their own, but we need opportunities like this. I was telling our training on Tuesday, on New Year's Day, about this opportunity opportunity with you, that this does better for somebody like myself than me going on my own thing, and because that's my own thing. They expect me to be excited and talk. But when you have a international podcast like this with you folks who I just love, and then you are asking us to come on, that does it have more credibility and trust, that's established that way. And so when we have leaders come into Next Level Leadership that are attorneys and doctors and athletes and stay-at-home moms and everything, and they're trying to build a brand, well, when they can do it within Next Level Leadership, then we are on Facebook and we promote it all out there, what they're doing on our blog and our trainings and everything. That's helping them. But a lot of people don't want to be part of a group because they just want to be the boss. And it's like, it's easier to come in first, make some victories, win, succeed, then go do it.
Yeah.
Then go do it. No one needs to do it ahead of time. They need to come in and learn. Like you've learned so much from the radio station and everything that allows you to succeed here.
Those are minutes. I'm a tag team on what you said about minutes, because where you spend your minutes is where you see the results.
Yep.
Whether it's good or bad. Mm-hmm. So if you're following the wrong crowd, that's your minutes. If you follow the right crowd, that's your minutes. If you wake up early, that's your minutes. If you wake up late, that's your minutes.
Yeah.
Because time doesn't wait for you. You have to purposely invest time while you have it.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
And that's the problem, because we can spend 2019 with amazing ideas like we talked about in the first segment. But if they're just ideas and you're not putting yourself in position to be planted somewhere that's solid, you're just wasting your time again. It's just another year for you.
Yeah.
And if you really want to go to the next level with Next Level Leadership, like you said earlier, we have to really digest how do we actually spend our minutes. Because you said the 4 F's: family, faith, finance, and fitness. Mm-hmm. If you know where your minutes are going, then you know where you're going.
Yes. Yeah.
Because how many times do we just spend the whole day just going through it?
Yeah.
But
Right.
not realizing where our minutes are actually going.
Yeah.
Because frustration, those are minutes too.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, we're human. We get mad. We get frustrated. But if you take the time to delegate more minutes into the more healthy, valuable things of life, that frustration don't have time for you.
Yeah. Amen.
You know,
that.
and if you really want to get really to the bullet point, once God fills up that empty space, then you don't have time for anything else. Yeah. That you used to have time for.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you just kind of take that bag and go down the road.
That's so good. I'm so grateful to be here, even just to fill up my cup with your words. And so thank you. And yes, those minutes are crucial. And especially when you mention the frustrating times, let's all be honest. Those frustrating times feel like minutes, feel like hours, and they take a lot out of us. When you're doing things that uplift you and feel good, we go on forever. I remember when I was in high school, gym class, I could hang for, it could be 2, 3, 4 hours. I would have been all right in gym class, but calculus, like that class, like I thought the clock was broken, and I, it seemed like it was in there for so long. And when you are frustrated, it wears you out emotionally. Some of us, when for me, I'm a big time grinder, like a lot of work. I think a lot of people don't want to work real hard this day and age. And when you're frustrated, it can feel like you worked really, really hard, because emotionally, whatever you had in you got spent quick. When you're frustrated, your emotions get burnt up quick, and we don't have patience and grace and love for others because we're just wore out. Yeah. But when you're in the right state of mind, like you said, and you're feeling at peace, we can go on and on and on and on and on and on and have enough to give, to keep giving. Yeah. And so a lot of that is crucial to the grind. It's like to keep our minds right. And that's why, again, with Next Level Leadership, if we can spend that half hour or some time, or if it's just a quote that's on the fan page and it warms you up and helps you handle the day better, you might not want to spend the half hour, but what if that half hour is crucial to your rest of your day? And again, it's that whole idea of measuring many times to cut once instead of cutting all over the place and making mistakes left and right. Yeah. And then being frustrated. So we got to slow down. People don't want to slow down. They don't want to fill it up. They don't want to take care of themselves. And they do it. We're fasting right now for the new year, and we're fasting till 6 o'clock every day. And when it got close to 6 o'clock, ooh, man, like me and my wife and everyone, the kids didn't know, because we were sitting there, and so we're like, it's just, we call it being hangry. I'm sure you've maybe heard of that before. Yeah. And because we hadn't filled ourselves up, we were starving our flesh, so our emotions weren't quite, we weren't filled right to the brim, so that we could work with that love and grace, because we were like, give me some food, and again, we're doing it purposefully, but many of us aren't filling our cup, and taking care of ourselves, which then allow us to have this great ability to lead well, to love well, to encourage well, and so that's where those minutes, oh my gosh, can for sure add up, and you got to take care of them. You got to grow in them.
And I want to say this, man, because the funny thing is this: we talking about minutes and how you spend it and spend it well. Well, here's another thing: our dreams can starve because of lack of minutes put into it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And same thing with the Bible. Reading God's word. The less we study, the more we worry. Mm-hmm. That's what I like to say.
Yeah, that's good.
Because it's not like the information's not there. I mean,
it's there.
You can pick any story in the Bible, and the reason why there's so much frustration is because we're not spending the time.
Yeah.
To even try to find the answer.
Yeah.
Because it's not religious, but even if you think on the business terms, you're the CEO, you're the boss, quote unquote, mm-hmm. right? But to even look like one compared to, the biggest brands out in the world, they have spent ridiculous amount of minutes and seconds throughout the day building the brand.
Yeah.
Telling the team that we're going to do big things. Yeah. And not just telling them, but they are the first ones to jump in the front line to say, here we go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because we mentioned that, right?
Yeah, the
going
grind.
Forward is not just going, but growing forward too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So before we wrap up this show, man, and I want you to just talk to the people out there who might feel like this is my year. I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
But I need some pep talk from Pastor Chad Schapiro.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about religion. Because I'm gonna just say this too, because a lot of times we mix religion and money as bad things, but we all have to pay rent.
Yeah.
I have to go to Taco Bell. I have to pay.
Yeah.
I don't go to Taco Bell and say, hey, this is for a nonprofit, man.
Right.
No, I have to pay my dues. So there's nothing wrong with money. That's how you use money that makes it evil or bad.
Amen.
So I just have to put that out there.
And that's a big one, because if you think money is a bad thing, then that's a big struggle out of the gates. You've got to look at it as a blessing. If the Lord blessed you with $1 million and you had I always heard money makes you more of what you already were. So if you're somebody that's greedy and selfish and whatever, and you get loaded with some money, then you're going to be worse in all those things. But if you are a good person and you're blessed financially, then oh my gosh, how can we have to desire that, because how much could you give? What kind of impact could you make? And if without those resources, then that's hurting the community and so forth. So you need to be blessed financially for sure. And so, but really, it's this new year for you. It is right in front of you, and you need to be inspired and excited and dust off some of the dreams. It's not too late, even though the first already went by. People are going to be sitting here piecing this together their whole lives. So don't even worry about the first is not magical anyway by itself, except for that's when we all usually do a do-over. But why not do a do-over in your mind every day? The Bible says to renew your mind. So why not renew our mind and get excited and look at every hurt, frustration, stress as part of you getting better, growing stronger. When you're in the gym, if you're doing something that's real easy, there's no growth to that. You got to break it down. Those muscles, those capillaries, they literally shed, they break apart, and they grow, the capacity grows stronger. It says, oh shoot, we need to be able to do more. This guy's trying to get something more out of these muscles. We need to grow to be able to handle that. Well, what if that's what you're doing? The stresses that you have. And so dream big. And why should somebody else have these big dreams when God wants to use you and I and everybody around you for things? We don't just coast through life. How much time do we have left? I don't know. If it's a day, if it's a week, if it's a month, if it's a year, if it's a decade, if it's another 20, 30, 40, 50 years, there's an alarm, ambulance going by right now. So we have to pray for them. Somebody could be in trouble. You never know when the time is going to be done, but you're here right now. So why coast through it? And coasting through it never helps anybody, does it? And it usually leaves you and I feeling empty. So we got to have some big, bold, serious dreams that shake you up, that wake you up, that get you inspired. You're going to feel better by that. If you're challenged, if it's too easy, you're not going to have the blood pumping through your veins the way you could have. So have a big dream. But like we said, don't just sit there on your big dream and feel great because you threw it out there, because you seem important, because you had a big resolution or a big wish, or you felt impressive because all this stuff we talked about. Let's not be talkers of things. Let's be doers of things. Let's make it happen. Let's fight. Let's grind. Let's pay the price in full. Don't expect it to be easier. Work hard to become better. What price did they pay to make it happen? How much did they invest? How many countless hours, like you mentioned? You did such a great job on that. You're just awesome. I love it. But those people paid so much time, effort, energy, and money for that momentum to start to happen, and then we sit back and we watch it. Well, guess what? We need to not look at the end story. We need to look at the beginning, when they were first grinding it out, what they had to do, because you are those people, and it's not just for your sake. Please don't do it just for your sake. When you dream big, when I dream big, then like I mentioned before, our kids get to dream big. Different dreams. Most of the time, right? Different dreams, but we're teaching them how to dream. Our spouses are learning how to dream. Our neighbors are learning how to dream, to give more. Our people in our businesses and our churches or wherever organizations are around us, they're learning how to dream big, to make it happen, to pay the price in full. And do they need that? Does society need that? Does this world need that? There's too much sitting around waiting for the fish to jump in the boat, when we need to be going out there and making it happen and giving it everything we've got. And then that's how the blessings will take place. And so I thank you for this opportunity to be on here with this. Is just, like I said, such a blessing to start the year off with you guys here, and to be able to share words like this. First and foremost, for me to be reminded, right, to be accountable for all the things that need to happen in my life for the new year. And second thing, if it was a blessing to anybody that's listening or watching, then, man, that's what it's all about. So we look forward to connecting with you at Ignite Community Church or Next Level Leadership or on the radio or wherever. But we thank you.
What's crazy is Ignite, man. You just ignite a big flame, because there's so many things I wanted to go into, but we are running out of time. But I do want to say this, though, because we talked about that empty space, in the first half.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a risk, but I'm going to say it because I ain't ashamed to say it. If you really want to think about it, God is the one that makes all things happen for you.
Yeah. Yes.
And he sent his only son to pay in full.
Yeah.
And we can't even pay that debt.
Nope. Never could.
So we can't even work for it.
Yeah.
But he gave us opportunity. We're in 2019. It's game over for that bad habits.
Yes. Yes.
Because he already took care of it, paid it in full. So we don't have an excuse but to go in 2019 with a whole different mindset.
Yes.
So for that one person who's out there who still has that empty space till this last few seconds in the podcast, what do they have to do to get to know God better?
Oh man, just spend time with him. Let him come. Let him be your savior. Let him be your everything, because he gave his everything for us. He gave it all for us. You think all this world was created by chance? You think you were created by chance? That's where a lot of hopelessness maybe will come from. But if we recognize what God has done, the price that he's paid, the beauty of this world, the beauty within people, the beauty within everything that's in front of you, good, bad, and whatever, to be able to help you grow, then we will then submit and then give him our all. And we start to press in, and it will feel distant at first. It will feel uncomfortable at first. But the more you do it, just like in any of these steps that we talk about, these goals, these resolutions, they're going to feel not as well as they will be, God willing, right? If we buckle down at the end of the year, we're going to be real comfortable with these things, right? We're going to be right there. Isn't that why you put the goal down? So that at the end of the year, you're sitting there with it, that you made it happen. You're not there now, right? That's what the beginning of the year is for. There's a beginning and there's the ending. So same thing with your relationship with God in that open space. At first, it's not going to feel like everything you wanted it to be. And there's nothing wrong with that. When I first was looking at the Bible, it was a dusty book of a bunch of words on there from old days that I didn't even know where, what, anything. And the more time you spend, the more time it's going to start to heal and fill those places that were missing for you. And then you're going to be there, and the relationship's going to be, and there will always be stuff to grow in. There'll always be stuff to learn. There's always going to be new dreams. So don't be surprised by that either, as you and I are always a work in progress. And so whatever you're in front of, I'm praying for you. This is your year. You can do it. Dust it off. Make it happen. If last year was a bend your knees kind of year to leap forward, then just be great with that. Be great with that. There's going to be 2020, God willing, is going to be bigger and better than 2019. We're always going to be a work in progress. So to give the best that we can. And so I hope that resonates with you listening. And I want to encourage you to stay a part of this podcast and stay a part of this fan page and everything that they've got going on, because they have some amazing leaders and teachers. Shemaiah, you can hear his words, right? Somebody should be interviewing him every day, because he's amazing. And then the other people that they have coming in here, sitting in this seat, that are way, way more qualified than I am to be able to help speak to you. That could be a major part of your New Year's resolution, to fill not only that void, but every other habit that you're trying to fix. So I thank you again.
Well, appreciate you, Pastor Chad Schapiro, being on the show, Ignite Community Church. And I'm going to break it down real quick for the young people before we wrap this up. All right, so you like hip-hop. I love hip-hop, all right? You in the studio. Sometimes we're in the home studio on GarageBand, but you got to graduate and go to the recording studio and pay studio time.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
So we go back to spending your minutes. So it don't matter if you're on the grind, don't matter if you're secular, don't matter if you go in church. The whole point of this conversation is 2018, if you were bending your knees, 2019 is time for you to jump.
Yes.
Because how many times do we have to waste a whole year not jumping?
Yep.
The coach's job is to coach the players to win games. Winning games get championships.
Yes.
Like you said earlier, you don't need to focus on the championship. You need to focus on the minutes during practice. Mm-hmm. And with that, I'm going to say, keep God first, stay focused, and peace.
Amen. Thank you.